Welcome to Danganronpa month! Fellow followers of Hope and Despair, Danganronpa Decadence comes out next month, a game that I have been so absurdly excited for so long, and I cannot wait till it finally comes. And to celebrate that, I am calling this month, in the lead up to Danganronpa Decadence, Danganronpa month, and we are going to celebrate accordingly way. So, here's what's gonna be happening. You guys know I love to rank characters on this channel, and this is what we're going to do for the build up to Danganronpa Decadence. This week, this video is going to be a ranking of every single one of the cast of the Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc cast, the original Danganronpa cast. Then, this same day, next week, you're going to get my ranking of the Goodbye Despair cast, the Danganronpa 2 cast, and of course, the week after that, this day, the week after that, will be the V3 Killing Harmony cast, if you could tell what's going on here. That is what we're going to do. I think it's going to be a ton of fun, and let's just jump right into it. Alrighty, no, we are not wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this. This is my ranking of every single one of the cast of the Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc cast. So, here we go. Let's jump into this. Obviously, first up is Makoto Nyagi, the ultimate lucky student, and soon to be the brand new carrier of the ultimate hope. And, Makoto is a boring character. Like, let's just tell it to it straight. Let's not sugarcoat this at all. Makoto's a boring character, and that's kind of the point, you know? He wins the lottery, he gets to attend Hope's Peak Academy through sheer luck. He is the ultimate lucky student of that year. And that's really, like, he's a very boring character, but he is kind of a likable character. Like, I think all of the protagonists are kind of boring. I do have a favorite, and I do have a least favorite, and Makoto was actually my least favorite, but I think all of them are fine characters. But it's kind of like the thing with Victorious, where Tori isn't really a bad character, but she's surrounded by so many other colorful and much more interesting and likable characters that she kind of gets forgotten about a lot. I'm not like that. Tori's my favorite character from Victorious, so I'm not like that. But it is kind of the same thing with Makoto here, where he's surrounded by so many other, so much more interesting characters that Makoto seems to kind of like bleed away, and nobody really talks about him all that much as a result, because like at that point he is now the weakest of the protagonists and the weakest of his game. And while he is a good person at heart, like everything about Makoto screams he is a good person. He wants what's best for people. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He wants everybody to get out of Hope's Peak Academy without dying a horrible death at the hands of the mastermind. But in general, he's just not the most exciting character in my opinion. He's got a fun design, and the end showdown between him and Junko is like the goddamn best thing I've ever seen ever. But overall, Makoto is, in my opinion, a pretty lackluster character in this franchise that is literally full of so many amazing and colorful and awesome characters. So for me, I'm gonna have to give Makoto a B tier personally. He is definitely not in my top 10 favorite Danganronpa characters. Let's just end it there. So Makoto's gonna get a B tier. Next up is Sayaka Maizano, the ultimate pop sensation, and for the first chapter, I loved this character because I thought she was, you know, nice and cool. And then, you know, you get to the first trial, and then you're like, wow, fuck her. So that's kind of the deal. And aside from that, you really don't get much time with Sayaka. You really only get to be with her throughout chapter 1, because obviously Sayaka is the first to go. She gets murdered by Leon, and overall, I like the design of her, and I think there's some good moments with her in the end of Danganronpa 3, the end of Hope's Peak High. I really like the part when who got one? Was it Nagito? Nagito gets Teru Teru, the autographed magazine of Sayaka, and when that happened, I was like, oh, that's a fun little thing to throw in there. So I like it. There are some aspects of this character that I like, but overall, Sayaka is gonna have to get a bit of a lower grade for me, just because in the end, she was trying to kill Leon, and I mean, at that point, like, how can you really like her? Because you don't get much time with her, you don't really get much time to build your relationship with her. She seems like a nice person, but once it's revealed that she's kind of just leading you on, and she's totally going to blame you for the murder so she can get out, not the best feeling, and for that reason, I'm gonna have to give Sayaka a pretty low grade. So Sayaka Maizano is gonna be getting a C tier for me. Not a bad character, a character that I'm certainly like, like the first time I played a Trigger Happy Havoc about a year ago. Obviously, I had a lot of fun with her at first before, you know, she's revealed to be a snake. But I'm really looking forward to replaying it once Decadence comes out and seeing how I feel about Sayaka then, seeing if my relationship with her gets a little bit better. But right now, I'm gonna give her a C tier. So Sayaka Maizano, a C tier. Alrighty. Leon Kawada, the ultimate baseball star. Look, we barely get any time with Leon. We really don't get to know much about him. All we know about him is he's the ultimate baseball star, and he doesn't like baseball. He just does it to impress chicks and get chicks on him. So that's like the only thing we really know about Leon. So you're gonna be really confused when I give him an A tier, because the reason I'm giving Leon an A tier, I'm sure you all know, all my Danganronpa fans, you know why Leon gets an A tier. Because Leon has the single best death in this entire franchise, and I stand by that 100%. He is one of the first deaths in the entire franchise. But his death is, in my opinion, hands down, the best part. The absolute best death of the entire franchise. Leon Kawada's execution. I've said this before, and I will take this to my grave. Leon Kawada's execution is the most haunting 5 minutes of animation that I have ever seen. It beats everything. It is so horrific. It is so horrifying and traumatic, and everything about it from beginning to end. How it opens up with all of the characters surrounding him with these really dejected looks on his face, and he's standing there, and Monokuma's being like, "You're gonna die, dude. You're about to die. You're done." And Leon just cannot escape. He's trying to get out. He's like banging on the walls, like, "Get me out of here!" The tears just running down his face, like he knows he's about to die. And that build up in the score in the background, and all the characters just looking at him like that, as that fucking Shane just comes out of the elevator shaft and grabs him and just pulls him down that gigantic fucking hallway into that horrendous, oh my god, dude, I cannot put into words how terrified how terrified I was the first time I saw this. I was genuinely chilled to the bone. It is like the absolute most traumatic thing I've ever seen in my life, and look, call me a sick fuck if you want to. I love this scene so much. This is the quintessential Danganronpa moment. If you want to get somebody into Danganronpa, and I have done it, I have done this with people. If you want to get somebody into Danganronpa who has no interest whatsoever in watching the anime adaptation or playing the games, just show them Leon Kawada's execution. I mean, it's like it's like one of the first things you see when you play the game. Just do it, because it is such a fucking captivating moment, and I know that for a fact because that was the moment I was like, I love this game, I'm playing this game all the way through to the end, because I started it because the Game Grumps were playing it, and I started getting invested in it, so I was like, I'm gonna try this out. That was how I discovered Danganronpa, if you don't know, guys, and I started it out, and when I got to Leon Kawada's execution, the look of horror on my face subjected myself like, I want to play this game to completion. I 100% do. And as soon as I finish it, jumped into the second one. As soon as I finished it, jumped into the third one. That is how Danganronpa became my favorite anime and one of my favorite franchises of all time. Is all because of Leon Kawada's execution. There is no way in hell I could give this character anything less than an A tier, because that execution cemented Danganronpa as my favorite anime of all time. Alrighty, Kiryotaka Ishimaru, the ultimate moral compass, or the ultimate hall monitor if you are a dub watcher. I like Taka a lot, but I hate what ends up going on. I hate what ends up happening with Taka. And you guys know what I'm talking about, because I've never met anybody who actually likes the twist with Taka. Of course, after the death of Mondo Iwata in Chapter 2, you get Kiryotaka, like, loses his mind and kind of becomes, like, a mishmash of the two, and it's really weird. I'm honestly glad that he dies in Chapter 3, so you don't have to, be subjected to that annoying ass fucking character for so long. But I mean, before that happens, he's a good character. I was actually like pretty sure he was gonna make it to the very end. Definitely more than I thought Yasuhiro was gonna make it to the very end. So I like Taka, and I love his concept execution. If you guys have not looked into his concept execution, it is super, super cool. I highly recommend it, and someone even animated it, so I would highly recommend checking it out. out because he has a really cool concept execution. Honestly, one of the better concept executions in my opinion. So I like the character overall. He's fun. He's got some good moments. There's some pretty great moments with him in the anime. I like his relationship with Mondo, and it's really, really tragic when Mondo gets executed in chapter 2 and Taka has to watch it all go down, and he's just horrified to the core, won't even talk to anybody. But overall, I gotta say that Taka's like that Kiryu Taka, he doesn't have much screen time. You know, you don't get to really get attached to him all that much. So for that reason, I can't give him a really high grade. So we're gonna give Taka a B tier for being a good character for the first 2 chapters, and then kind of falling off in the 3rd chapter, in my opinion. So Taka is gonna be getting a B tier. And obviously, we rank Taka. Now we gotta rank Mondo. Now Mondo was honestly my favorite character when I was playing through the first couple chapters of Danganronpa, and when it came time for him to get executed in the chapter 2, I was honestly like so sad. That was another thing that cemented this fucking franchise, that I wanted to finish the whole game, and it immediately became one of my favorite freaking franchises ever, because Mondo was easily my favorite character from the first 2 chapters. When I started playing in the first 2 chapters, Mondo was easily my favorite character, and when he died, I was like, fuck, it's like the Walking Dead thing, dude. You take my favorite character and you fucking kill them. Like, I really did love it, but Mondo was a great character. Like, I really liked him. I love his relationship that he built with Taka. I love the whole thing with him and Chihiro, although it was so sad, but I love in the end how Chihiro, even though Chihiro was was like, you know, he was so much punier than Mondo, and, you know, the whole thing with Chihiro. We'll talk more about Chihiro in a second. He's the next character up. But the whole thing between Mondo and Chihiro, how it kind of turned out, like, even though Chihiro was so much smaller and so much more puny than Mondo, how in the end, Chihiro was 100% the bigger man. It really was a brilliant thing, and why Chapter 2 was so beloved by the fans, myself included. I love Chapter 2 of Trigger Happy Havoc. And for that reason, I don't think I can give Mondo anything less than like a B+ in my opinion. And I'm actually going to go ahead and give him an A- actually, because he was one of my favorite characters when he was there. And, you know, he at one time, there was like a day where I would have said he was my favorite character. For one day, he was my favorite character. But, yeah, there you go. Mondo is going to be getting an A-. And I mean, it can't be disputed how, you know, he fucked up in Chapter 2. He really did. And that's a really difficult thing to excuse, you know. He killed poor Chihiro. Like, how could you do that? He was such a sweet boy. And, I don't know, man. So for that reason, you know, there's ups and downs for Mondo, and that's why I'm going to give him an A-. So there you go. A- for Mondo. He's also got a great design and a great backstory. So A- for Mondo. Alrighty. Chihiro Fujisaki, the ultimate programmer. I love Chihiro, honestly, and you don't get a lot of time with him. He's one of the first people to die, but I really did love this character because, you know, the whole thing, you know, he starts out as... I don't mean any offense to this, okay? I'm just saying this because it's what happens in the show. He's a dude in a dress, okay? He starts out, you think he's a girl, obviously, because he introduces himself as a girl, but then you find out in Chapter 2 that he was actually, you know, I don't want to say anything offensive, but that is what he is. And you find that out in Chapter 2, and that kind of goes along with his story with Mondo, and, you know, the whole thing, how he trusted Mondo to help him out and become a man, because he wanted to use the motive, Monokuma's motive, that he would reveal the fact that Chihiro is a guy. He wanted to use that as a way to get over it and become a man and become a bigger man. And so he went to Mondo, and Mondo was all jealous because he was so much stronger than him. It was so brilliant, man. Chapter 2 of Trigger Happy Havoc really is absolutely brilliant. And Chihiro was a great character. He's so sweet, man. I really cannot say that enough. And obviously, him creating Alter Ego was a huge thing in the story. You know, the whole thing with Alter Ego saving Makoto in the Chapter 5 execution. Really, really awesome. I don't think Chihiro's grade could be anything less than an A tier, man. He really was a great character. And honestly, his significance in the story, as well as the role he played in the story, I'm gonna go ahead and give Chihiro an A+. I think he was a really good character, and I would love to see more of him. I don't know, maybe we could do like a prequel or something. Like, I know we got in End of Hope's Peak High, we got a couple of flashes of the fifth what class number was it? Was it 53? I don't know. I think it was the 53rd class, maybe. You know, the Trigger Happy Havoc cast. I want to see more of like that whole school year. If they do ever do it, I don't think it's gonna happen, but if they do ever do it, I would definitely look forward to seeing some more of Chihiro. So, Chihiro, A+. Alrighty. We are at one of the highlight characters, ladies and gentlemen, Toko Fukawa, the ultimate literature girl, aka Genocide Jack, the ultimate serial killer. She is easily in my top 5 favorite characters. I love Toko. Once Mondo died, Toko was my new favorite character until chapter 6. I love Toko so much. I love both personalities. I love Toko. I love Genocide Jack. They're such a highlight of the game, in my opinion. I understand that a lot of people don't seem to like Toko all that much. A lot of people like Genocide Jack, but not really Toko. I don't really understand why. I think she's so awesome. I really do love her. I love her design. She has such a great and memorable design. She has such a great personality. I love the whole thing with her and Byakuya, although it is a little bit, it is a little dominatrix or whatever, is that the word? But I do like the relationship she has with them, and I like the character overall. And I'll be honest, that little fake out in chapter 5 when the fucking body explodes and Toko goes flying through the air, that scared me a little. I was like, no, you cannot kill Toko, don't do that. So yeah, Toko is easily one of my favorite characters, and honestly, for a good while, like, Mondo was my favorite character for one day, Toko was my favorite character for a good month or so. Like, I really did love Toko. So I gotta give Toko an S tier, 100%. I absolutely love her, and I love Genocide Jack, and I just love this character. And the whole thing with her in chapter 2, how she really helped them find the actual killer in chapter 2, the actual Blackened in chapter 2, really loved it. So Toko is gonna be getting an S tier for sure. Alrighty, Aoi Asahina, the ultimate swimming pro. Dude, I love Hina. I love Hina so much. This is one character I was so glad that she survived. And if you guys are Game Grumps fans and you're watching along to Game Grumps' new playthrough of Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, in the last episode, they called Akane the new Hina, and I was like, no, don't you ever compare that fucking useless bitch to Hina ever again, I swear to God. So yeah, but we'll talk about Akane next week. I have thoughts on Akane, if you can't tell. But Aoi, I love her. If I ever find myself in this situation where I'm trapped in this fucking school and I'm forced to fucking fight to the death with a bunch of other people, please God, let there be a Hina in there to keep me happy and be such a positive ray of sunshine in this horrible fucking situation. I love her. Like, no matter what happened, she always stayed positive. She always kept the others like looking forward and not really like when the other characters were started getting like super depressed, super scared, Aoi was the one that comforted them and told them that like everything was gonna be all right, even though she had no idea that it was not gonna be all right. I love Aoi. I really do. I love her name also. I love her donut obsession. It's easily my favorite Danganronpa meme is Aoi's donut obsession. I just love it so much. She's got a great design for way more reasons than just that one that you're all thinking of. I love her. I love her. I also love her little hair, her little like raindrop hair that she has. And I'm super excited. I really cannot wait to see what Danganronpa S is all about, because I know next to nothing about it. I haven't really been able to figure out what's going on, and I've kind of told myself I don't want to know what's going on. I really just want to experience it for myself once Decadence comes out, and I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on in there, and hopefully it will hopefully build my relationship with some of the Trigger Happy Havoc cast. Because I'll be honest with you, the Trigger Happy Havoc cast I think is pretty unanimously known as the weakest cast of Danganronpa. It just has the least interesting characters overall. But that is in comparison to the V3 cast and the Goodbye Despair cast, which I just think are just so much more interesting overall. Like, I don't think this is a controversial opinion at all. 99% of people seem to prefer the other characters, the other two casts over the Trigger Happy Havoc cast. But I think Aoi is one of the standout characters of this, and for that reason, I'm going to give her an S-. She is going to be getting the second S- of this series. So Aoi is an S-. She's such a positive character, and I really do love her. I love her design. She's got some great memes, obviously. She's got a great, yeah, I love Aoi. I just think she's a great character. So S- for Aoi Asahina. Alright, it's time for everybody's favorite Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc character, Yasuhiro Hagakure, aka the single most useless character in this entire franchise, competing with Akane. But I'm just gonna tell you this straight up, Yasuhiro is so much better than Akane, because at least Yasuhiro was likable. At least Yasuhiro tried to contribute to the plot a little bit. Like, he didn't do all that much, and there's absolutely no reason why he should have survived by the end. But at least he was more likable than Akane. I honestly hate Akane. Like, I'm just gonna tell you straight up, little teaser for the Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair cast ranking. I hate Akane. She is my least favorite character in this entire franchise. So, I'll just say that. Yasuhiro, he's a useless character. Like, let's just tell it to you straight. He does nothing. He does absolutely nothing in the plot, but he's a fun character. He's got a fun design. He's got some funny moments in the, if you've watched the anime adaptation of Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc, he has got some highlight moments in that. I really do love some moments he has, like when he just breaks out at Monokuma. There's that one moment where Monokuma, like, announces, like, the whole thing with once the chapter 1 gets wrapped up and they're exploring the library, and Monokuma's on the intercom, and Yasuhiro just goes, "Man, that bear is a dick." I'm just like, that is exactly what I would have said in that situation. So he's got some moments, and for that reason, there's no way I could give him like a really low grade, but he's a likable character, but in the end, he really does basically nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and give Yasuhiro a B tier for me, because I enjoy him as a character, but he is pretty useless in the grand scheme of things. So Yasuhiro is gonna be a B tier. Alrighty, we go from a pretty lackluster character to one of the absolute coolest characters from Trigger Happy Havoc, Celestia Ludenberg, the ultimate gambler. I love this character, and I think her, and I know a lot of people have an issue with her in Chapter 3 freaking the fuck out at everybody because they found out that she was the Black, and I honestly think that is one of the best moments of the entire franchise. I love that moment so much because it's just so funny how the whole time she was totally faking this calm attitude when in reality she wants out of there more than anybody else, and once she's confronted on that, how she just fucking loses it in front of everybody. It's honestly a huge highlight of the show in my opinion. I really do love it. So Celeste, she's got a really great design as well. Like, nobody could take away that Celeste has one of the most memorable designs in the entire show. Her freaking tornado hair and her red eyes. I love her design. She really is a great character. She's got a lot of great moments. Her plan was pretty bad. Like, that's a thing that a lot of people like to throw shade at with Celeste. Her plan was pretty bad, and it really does make it, it's very easy to unravel her plan once you get down to it, especially the whole thing with Hifumi, like calling her out at the last minute and them thinking it's Hagakure, but it's actually Celeste. And then at the end, she's like, "My real name is Taiko Yasuhiro." It was like, I don't know. Chapter 3 is easily, like, well, I would have said it was my least favorite chapter of Trigger Happy Havoc, but I'd have to say Chapter 5 was my least favorite chapter of Trigger Happy Havoc, but I actually do like Chapter 3 of Trigger Happy Havoc. I really do. I don't think that it's nearly as bad as the Chapter 3 in Goodbye Despair, personally. I know a lot of people like to put it on the bottom of the list when it comes to the chapters, when it comes to the Danganronpa chapters, but personally, I do like Chapter 3. I just think it's a little bit rocky. The whole thing with Hifumi, with Celeste kind of getting Hifumi to come along, it makes it really easy to unravel her plot, and in the end, it makes her seem like kind of an idiot because her plot is so easy to figure out. This was easily the easiest plot to figure out for me, like when I was playing Trigger Happy Havoc. This one did not take me long to unravel and figure out that it was Celeste. So overall, not the smartest character, and there are some great but she does have some really great moments in the show. I love it when she fucking freaks the fuck out at everybody, and she has a great design. So for that reason, since she's such a memorable character, I'm gonna go ahead and give Celeste an A tier. I think she's a really cool character. I love her design, and yeah, I'm just repeating myself at this point. I like Celeste a lot. So A tier for Celeste. Alrighty, Hifumi, we finally get to talk some shit. Hifumi sucks. Like, Hifumi is the terror of this, of this game, and he just, like, there's nothing likable about Hifumi. He's a pervert, he's fucking weird, his design is weird, he's not likable. I don't like Hifumi. I don't at all like Hifumi. He has some funny lines in the anime, I won't take that away from him. He has a couple of funny lines in the anime, he got a couple laughs out of me. But overall, he's easily, no questions asked, my least favorite character of Trigger Happy Havoc. No questions asked. So, Hifumi is going to be receiving the first D tier of this list, and I don't think that's going to be controversial with anybody. Very few people on this planet seem to have any tolerance whatsoever for Hifumi. The ultimate fanfic writer. Yeah, you say Hifumi, the ultimate fanfic writer, and you're like, yeah, I don't like him already. So, Hifumi is going to be a D tier. Alrighty, but we go from the worst character to probably the actual best character, Kyoko Kirigiri, the ultimate detective. I love Kyoko. Like, what can be said about Kyoko that hasn't been said a million times? She's one of the main characters of Trigger Happy Havoc, one of the main defining, reasons why we actually get kind of a happy ending in Trigger Happy Havoc. I love Kyoko. She's such a huge help. Like, I would not have figured out 90% of the Blackens in this fucking game without Kyoko's fucking, master detective skills. I love this character. I love her design. She's got such a great and memorable design, and she's such a awesome and memorable character overall. overall in Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, and easily one of the highlights of the game. Like, Trigger Happy Havoc is easily my least favorite Danganronpa game, like it is for most people, but Kyoko is a highlight. I think she is one of the best parts of Trigger Happy Havoc, and that's far from a controversial statement. She's easily one of the most popular characters of the show. So, yeah, Kyoko is gonna be getting an S tier. Like, I don't think I can give her anything less than an S tier. I think she's such a great character. I love it. I absolutely love in Chapter 6 and in Chapter 5 when, you know, after Makoto is wrongly accused as the Blackened and he gets sent to the fucking dungeon. I love that Kyoko is the one that went and saved him. It was really great. And the whole thing, you know, she brings him back up there, confronts Monokuma. Consider it the final showdown between hope and despair. I love it. I love Kyoko overall. I think she's a great character. And yeah, she's gonna get an S tier. There's absolutely no way I can't give Kyoko an S tier. She's such a great character, and I love her. So Kyoko is gonna get an S tier. It's been so long since I played Trigger Happy Havoc. I'm really looking forward to replaying it once Decadence comes out. So yeah, cannot wait for that. Alrighty, we have to talk about Mukuro Ikusaba, because even though we know absolutely fucking nothing about her in Trigger Happy Havoc, and we only find out about her later in the Despair arc, she is a character in this game, and I feel like if I didn't rank her, I probably would have gotten a couple comments on it. So, Mukuro Ikusaba, let's just say that we're talking about Mukuro Ikusaba in the grand scheme of things, the Despair arc and Trigger Happy Havoc. And even then, I don't like this character. I don't like Mukuro Ikusaba. She's, the whole thing with her in the Despair arc, how she's so weirdly horny with Junko, and they're kind of sisters, although they're not blood related. I don't know, man. It just made me really uncomfortable. And there's a lot of moments in the Despair arc where you can tell she's getting off at this situation. Like, Junko's over here torturing somebody, making a dude fucking use a hacksaw to cut his head off, and Mukuro's in the back going, oh, yeah, like, I don't like this character. I don't think a lot of people like this character. I do like the idea of her being the ultimate soldier and also being the ultimate despair. Like, that's kind of cool, but they don't explore it at all, and the personality of Mukuro is so unlikable and so genuinely uncomfortable that it makes it really hard for me to like her at all. So, Mukuro Ikusaba is going to be getting the next D tier of this list. I just don't like this character. The whole thing with her in the beginning, how she's dressed up as Junko, and then in Chapter 6 it's revealed that they were sisters and Junko fucked her over. It was interesting. It was a good part, and she does have some good moments in Chapter 1. Like, you do get some pretty great lines from Junko. I especially love in the animation when she there's that part in the animation where she goes, "You heard me, you psycho hairball. I am not doing this shit." Like, she has some great moments in the Chapter 1. But, I mean, at that point, you really think you just think it's Junko, and by Chapter 6, when you find out it's Mukuro, you're just like, it's basically Junko anyway, so whatever, you know, Mukuro Ikusaba, not a very memorable character, not a good character overall, so I'm gonna say D tier, and I don't think anybody's gonna have an issue with that. She's so fucking weird, dude. So, yeah, D tier for Mukuro Ikusaba. Alrighty, but once again, we go from a pretty good low to a major high. Byakuya Togami, the ultimate affluent progeny. I love this guy. Like, he's a total douchebag in the first 5 chapters, but once you get, in the first 3 chapters, he starts to show his colors in Chapter 4 with the whole thing with Hina and Sakura. But I love Byakuya. I really do. I think this character is so great, and the whole thing with him and Toko as well, how he wants nothing to do with Toko, and she just keeps coming after him. Honestly, I like this character a lot. Once again, he's a total douchebag for the first 3 chapters, but honestly, he's kind of a douchebag to the level where it's still entertaining. And then once you get to Chapter 4 and he starts to become like a much more likable character, he realizes all of the things, especially in Chapter 6 when it's revealed that his whole entire family was already been killed. He really does become a much more likable character in that regard. So overall, I really do like Byakuya. I really do. And I think he gets a lot more hate than he deserves. And he is easily the weakest of the troublemakers, because the other 2 troublemakers from Goodbye Despair and V3 are literally like the 2 best, some of the absolute best of the best characters in this franchise. So there is that as well. So he's up against 2 of the absolute best characters in the franchise. But I still like Byakuya a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and give Byakuya an A tier. I just think I like him as a character a lot. He's a total pompous douchebag for a long time, but he has his little subtle moments of humanity, and he really does, in the end, feel like a great character. So, Byakuya is gonna get an A tier. Alrighty, Sakura Okami, the ultimate grappler, or the ultimate martial arts star. This is a controversial one for me, but I never really liked this character all that much. I don't love her design, and I think that her whole thing in Chapter 4, while it was sad and depressing, I feel like it was kind of I don't know. Overall, I like the whole thing with her in chapter 4. You know, Aoi, who is like her only friend, you know, tries and like frames everyone so everybody will die because she's so pissed that Sakura gave her life and nobody like stopped her and nobody helped her out. But I still feel like I think Sakura maybe took it a little too far. I know the whole thing with her like trying to end the killing game, but like I don't really think it was all that smart because it was pretty easily like Monokuma pretty easily debunked that and was like, yeah, no, you're not ending this killing game like that. So I don't know. And the whole thing with her being in on it at the and when Monokuma reveals that she's been in on it from the beginning, she was like the double agent, but you know she kind of says fuck you in chapter 4. Not a bad character, but one of my least favorite characters overall. And I know she is popular with people, so I know this is a controversial one, but personally, Sakura's just never been my favorite character. So Sakura is going to be getting a, we'll go with a B-, because I still think she's a good character and she's got some great moments and she lends to a great chapter overall. But B- for me, it's just not one of my favorite characters in the franchise. So there we go. However, we just went from one of my not favorite characters in this franchise to my absolute favorite character in this franchise, Junko Enoshima, the ultimate despair. Also, technically Monokuma as well, so this rank will be for Monokuma and Junko. Words cannot express how much I love Junko. Junko is one of my favorite anime characters of all time. I love this character so much. She is so over the top with her evil and her attitude and everything about her. How she has her switching personalities that are just constantly changing and her over the top sense of like evil. Like she's one of those villains that's like so evil and she just wants to fucking kill everybody and bathe the world in despair. But it never, in my opinion, comes off as cliche. She always stays a very entertaining and very interesting and very fun villain. Like every time Junko is on screen, my eyes are glued to her and I just want to hear her talk more. Every single time she opens her mouth, I'm just like, please, I just want more. She's so damn entertaining. Every time Junko is on screen, I'm so entertained. And, you know, she's so evil and so villainous and she lends to so many great moments, especially in chapter 6. The whole plot twist with her, I absolutely loved. I did kind of see it coming, but I have my reasons for that. Basically, when I was playing Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, I became totally obsessed with it, and I kept going on YouTube and watching videos, and then I would constantly see Junko in thumbnails, and I was like, okay, there's no way a character who's constantly appearing in thumbnails right here is going to be a character that literally died in chapter 1. It was like one of the absolute first people to die in the game. So I kind of knew that she wasn't dead. I kind of knew that there was going to be stuff going on, and I did kind of call that she was the mastermind, but it doesn't take away from it at all. I still think it's an awesome plot twist, and I absolutely love every single second that Junko is on screen. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I fucking love Junko, and obviously Monokuma, so fun, man. Monokuma is just such a fun and lively character, man. I really do love Junko overall, and she is hands down my favorite villain of Danganronpa and my favorite character of Danganronpa. I love everything about Junko, and there's absolutely no way I cannot give Junko an S+. She just has such an awesome personality. Her switching personalities and everything like that. Her design is absolutely fucking awesome. I just love her. I love Junko so much. She is one of the absolute most entertaining anime villains I have personally ever seen. I really do love this character. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is every single one of the Trigger Happy Havoc characters ranked. Here is the list overall, just to give you a quick little recap. We gave Makoto a B tier, Sayaka a C tier, Leon an A tier, Taka a B tier, Mondo an A-, Chihiro an A+, Toko an S tier, Aoi an S-, Yasuhiro a B tier, Celeste A tier, Hifumi D tier, Hyoko S tier, Mukuro D tier, Byakuya A tier, Sakura B- tier, and Junko / Monokuma is an S+. So Junko was the only S+, but I'm sure will be a little bit controversial, because I know Junko is one of those characters that you either absolutely love like me, or you absolutely despise. So there is that as well, but that is my ranking for every single one of the characters. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave all your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of it, and leave your ranking in the comment section down below. Do you agree with most of my ranking? Do you not agree with any of my ranking? Just leave all of them in the comment section down below, because I would love to know your guys as well. And if you are a huge Danganronpa fan or stan, I almost said stan, but you know, that could actually work as well. Definitely stay tuned on the channel, because next week, this very day, I will be giving you guys the Goodbye Despair ranking, the ranking of the Goodbye Despair cast, which should be a ton of fun. So, with that being said, everybody, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And this is DK Guillotine, signing out.